In this video, I want to show how to set up RStudio Cloud to use the GitHub workflow fork and clone. Basically, what we want to do is to set up the Usethis package. If you're interested in following along and seeing the code that I will be working with, you can come to this link and you will find this document here. So the very first thing we want to do is to create a new RStudio project where we are going to be hosting basically not just one but many projects. Well, the reason why we want to do that is because setting things up is a little bit of takes some effort, as you will see in this video, and we want to reuse that effort in multiple projects. That's kind of a different model than the approach that you would use, the approach that is usual in RStudio Cloud, where each project is one standalone thing, and if you want to configure a project, you need to do it every time you create a new project. But we're gonna kind of hack the system a little bit to create one project where we can, to set up one RStudio Cloud project where we can reuse those settings to work with multiple RStudio projects. So now this is where kind of the model breaks, and there is one RStudio Cloud project that hosts many RStudio projects. Generally, the mapping is one-to-one. One RStudio project generally lives inside one RStudio Cloud project, but now we're going to be doing a different thing. We're going to be kind of hacking the system a little bit to create a single RStudio Cloud project, configure it correctly to work fluently with Usethis, and inside it to nest a bunch of RStudio projects. So here, step one, let's go ahead and create a new project. I'm gonna call this project home because basically all the RStudio projects that are gonna be hosted within this RStudio Cloud project are gonna end up in the home directory of RStudio Cloud. But that you will see closer to the end of this tutorial. So I'm gonna click here and call this home, but you can call it whatever really. And then the next step is to use these packages. So Usethis and devtools. I'm gonna run that, and this is gonna install fairly quickly because now RStudio Cloud uses installed packages from binaries, so it should work pretty quickly. But in the meantime, I'm gonna come here and explain what we're gonna be doing next. So the next thing is to configure our environment to use this in every interactive session so that we don't need to run the function library every time that we want to use this. And here I want to make a little pause to explain the relationship between these two packages. Once upon a time, devtools was the only package, and it grew, and then some functions that live in devtools were extracted into this other package called Usethis. But still, devtools makes every function in Usethis available. So devtools is in itself a package and at the same time a meta package because it also makes available functions from other packages. So what we're going to be doing next is we're going to be first we're going to attach devtools, just that we get access to this function, and then the function use devtools will just make all of devtools available in every interactive session, including of course every function in the Usethis package. So let's copy this here and paste it there. Let's see how this is going. Should be close to the end. There we go, and we're gonna paste that code. We're gonna do library devtools, use devtools, and that opens this file, special file called rprofile, where we need to copy paste. So basically every time in these interactive functions, they give you some instructions. So include the code here inside the rprofile. So we copy paste it, and that will make devtools available in every interactive session. And once we do that, we need to we can close the file and we restart this R. Right? So you can also do it with Shift Control F10. You need to restart R for that to take effect. The next step, well, here I wanted to show you a little bit what's the situation of our configuration so far. Our configuration is pretty empty right now. As you can see, for example, Git doesn't even know our name and email, and there's a bunch of other things that are unset, like for example, the GitHub token. And that's exactly what we're gonna be doing in the rest of the tutorial. So the first thing I want to do is to set up a Git, giving our name and email, and it is not any email, it is the email that is associated to our GitHub account. So here, the example, in my case, I type Mauro, and the email that I'm going to be using is one that is attached to the GitHub account that I'm going to be using for this demo. So these are my credentials. I run this function. You may have done this on the terminal before, but Usethis provides this helper that allows you to do it without the terminal, just from R. So let's do another situation report, and now you see that my user and my name and email for Git is already configured. We still need to work on personal token, so let's do that, because for now there is no way yet to for Usethis to do stuff on our behalf on GitHub, because it doesn't have that token, that key. So let's run that function browse GitHub token, and that sends us to GitHub. Here you can change the name that you see here. You're creating like a special password thing, and usually you could give it a name that is descriptive for the platform that you are configuring. So I'm going to use the date of today and rstudio.cloud GitHub path, because you will end up with many tokens for different computers and different environments. All the checks here are okay. You just need to click generate token and you're good to go. And then copy this password here. And this is a password. The only reason why I'm showing this to you is because I'm going to destroy it after the demo, but it's private information. You shouldn't share it with anyone. You just go to rstudio.cloud and follow the instructions that you got when you run browse GitHub token. So the first thing that function did is to send us to GitHub, where we created that token and we copied it to our clipboard. But then the second step here is to call the function edit our environment. So it's going to be that edit our environment, right? With no arguments, we just run that function. This file opens up, and now we have to type GitHub path equals, so this is what I'm doing, I'm following this instruction, GitHub path equals, and now we paste the password that we have. And then make sure that you end up the file with a new line here, right? So you have to have an empty line here. You can close the file then and restart your session. You have to sort of save the file, restart with, in this case, I'm pressing Shift Control F10. You must restart, right? I'm doing it twice because it's critical. And one time should suffice, but I'm just a bit paranoid. And then the next step is to start actually, so we can celebrate because we have achieved the configuration that we wanted. We are now ready to use very cool features from the Usethis package that allow us to work with the GitHub flow in a very easy way. We don't need to kind of set up things anymore. Usethis is going to do a lot of the heavy lifting for us. So let's clean this up and let's reflect for a moment on where we are. So we are here on Cloud Project, which is just one folder within the RStudio Cloud computer that I was given when I created this home project. But I'm going to be first pasting that code. Oh, so this funky quotation mark comes from probably typing that on Word. The alignment is not that important, but I wanted to demonstrate that what we're going to be doing now is we're going to create from GitHub a Git repository that comes from this owner, the owner 2 Degrees Investing, and the repository is called Demo1, and we want to store that repository in a destination directory, which is the home directory of this RStudio Cloud computer that we were given. And we are asking the function to please fork the repository. This is usually not necessary if you don't have permissions to push into the master branch of that particular repository. But it's kind of nice to make it explicit. So what I'm doing, and even if I have privileges to push into this particular repo, with fork equals true, I will be asking it to create a fork first into my user account, and then a clone from there. And where should I place that fork, that clone? Well, here in the home directory. So after doing this, we're going to leave this location in rstudio.cloud, and we're going to end up in the home directory of this computer. So I'm going to run that. And now the process halts for a moment and asks us to confirm which of these two protocols we want to use. I'm going to say 2, HTTPS. If you don't know what this means, just go for number 2 for HTTPS. And if you do know and you do have an SSH key, then you may go with that one. But that is beyond the scope of this tutorial. So I just go for HTTPS, which is one that I recommend particularly for the first steps. Continue with that. Here it's asking me if for the project that I'm about to abandon, if I wanted to save the R data file. I say don't save. I don't care about that project at all. So as you can see, rstudio.cloud is closing that project and reopening in a different location. Where? Well, in tilde demo, right? In the place where I ask it to place demo. Tilde is the home directory. So as you can see here, it's kind of more explicit. Home demo 1. So now we are at this project that we just forked and cloned from GitHub. It is a Git repo, as you can see. It has, when it has Usethis clone this repo, added a file called gitignore, and also added a file called demo1 RStudio project. So those two files are yet kind of unknown to this Git repository. So the one thing we can do actually to prove that the setup is ready for pull requests is, we could push a pull request to this repository asking to include these two files. So we are not going to work from master. No. On the GitHub flow, you work with a branch. So you do pr init using Usethis, the function pr init, my cool or initialize, let's call it meaningfully, initialize RStudio project. This is the name of my branch. As you can see now, the branch here is no longer master. It is called initialize RStudio project. And now we are ready to create a commit. We can select those files, click one box that will check everything, hit commit. It's a nice repo. Create a commit, but this is still on rstudio.cloud, and I want to push it to GitHub, right? So I want to submit a pull request asking the owners of the repo to incorporate the changes that I have just done locally via a pull request. I don't have the push buttons available, but that's no problem because Usethis is telling me that the next thing I can do is run the function pr push. And that is going to create, or it's going to send me to the place where I can create a pull request. So the browser has just opened. I'm now on the owner's repo, the 2 Degrees Investing organization, demo1 repo. And as you can see, this interface allows me to confirm that, yes, the branch that contains the changes that I want to submit is this one here, initialize RStudio project from this repository at my user account, and I want to propose those changes to be included in the master branch of the repository with the same name but in the owner's organization. That is usually referred to as upstream. And here is my commit, which adds those couple of files. Actually, let's click there to explore them. Here it is, two files changed, the gitignore and the RStudio project file. So let's go one step back, create the pull request, and hit here to actually do it. So with that, we finished the tutorial. I have shown you how you can configure the like a home directory into your RStudio Cloud computer, where you can nest you kind of should behave as your local computer does. So now I have one RStudio project inside this RStudio Cloud project. So now, with this model, I'm kind of detaching this idea of RStudio Cloud project and RStudio project. So the RStudio Cloud project that I have just configured has all the settings that I like to work comfortably with Usethis, and it is one big RStudio Cloud project within which I'm going to start, forking and cloning a bunch of other projects. So, for example, I could do create from GitHub another repo, something like 2 degrees testing demo. So this is demo 1, and I'm gonna do demo. So this is a completely different repository, and I'm gonna put it where, in the same place, right here at the home, and I'm gonna say fork equals true, and same thing that I did before. I'm gonna say I want to use the HTTPS protocol. This is doing all the heavy lifting for me. It's closing that project, opening another one. And as you can see, if I navigate, so here I landed into this particular repository, which I could, now again, initialize a pull request and start working with it. But what I wanted to show you is that if I go, to the parent, to the home directory, now here I have, 2 repositories, demo and demo 1. So this is the idea where, we have kind of a little bit of a hack. Done a little bit of a hack to use the home directory of the RStudio Cloud computer that we were given when we created the project. So we're going to use that home as a place to store all our RStudio projects, and they all are going to share the configurations. They use this setup that we kind of took care of doing. So with that, thank you very much for joining me. I see you next time.